Hello. Good
Good
morning.
morning, Nick.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I've been up really early working on my private pilot studying.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, good for
Good morning,
you.
Hassan. I don't quite know what I'm going to do with all the spare time if I ever pass this thing.
That's funny. Yeah. What's your plan for flight training?
Um, I, I think my plan, but I'd like to ask you since we're waiting for people to join, what I thought I would do is learn how to talk to the tower because I took like 4 or 5 lessons and I found the whole thing like kind of neurologically overwhelming and I'm trying to remember how to do everything and understand everything. So I
Hmm.
thought I'd break it apart and do that and make sure I have that and then start maybe in January.
Okay.
I have a teacher. It's a local flight school. It's not a bargain place, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But I'd ask your opinion. Do you think that's right or no?
Yeah, I think you get 2 years after you pass the FAA written until
Yeah.
you have to take it again if you don't get to your check ride. But that should be fine if as long as you think you'll be fine on that timeline. Um,
What would you suggest?
I'm trying to think like I think it could definitely help. I would kind of hit it hard and do a couple weeks and then
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But you could Plain English is a really good app and then or have you tried that our ATC simulator at
No,
all?
I have that on my list to do, but I've just been like all in focusing, so
Yeah, no, totally.
um,
Yeah, so just check out those things and then um yeah, I think that's a good idea. Definitely because there's a couple things. There's one, it's like knowing what to say, and two, it's like and then two is the confidence to say it, right? And then
right, right.
the confidence really just comes with practice and doing it. Which the plain English app and the simulator, they can help a little bit with that. But those will be good to like just get down and practice knowing what kind of things to say and listening uh back and reading back what, things like that. So definitely could help.
I definitely want to do IFR too, Nick, assuming again that I can pass the written test and that I can pass my check right and whatever. But it
Hmm.
seems like the knowledge layers on top of each other. So I wondered about whether I should try to when to start working on the IFR ground part. Yeah, Nick, you mean after you pass. God bless you. I know, I know. Like
Yeah,
Nick said, I got to work. I just don't want to be over cocky. That's what I'm at.
yeah.
Confidence,
Uh,
you got it.
It
um,
doesn't feel like that when I try to understand thunderstorms. I'm just saying.
you can definitely learn the IFR stuff early. Again, once you take the test, it's valid for 2 years. But learning it early and then maybe doing the test prep later is not a bad idea. It always helps you to learn more before flight
Do
lessons. So,
you have any plans to do a class like this for IFR or no?
yeah, I think so. I have to kind of think and plan ahead, and see what we want to do, in terms of that schedule. But I definitely, it's it. I definitely want to.
What do you recommend for like when to do IFR ground?
Um,
Because it's not, I know this is a unique, it's a little different when you're first starting your training because
yeah,
I'm not taking any flight lessons yet. I am, taking your advice to do it at the end. So probably next week or so, I'll be, starting flight lessons. But once you start, like you were saying, you don't want to take a lot of breaks
right.
or time between because you want to stay
Right.
fresh on flight lessons. So we don't have that same opportunity to pull back and only focus on like IFR
Mhm.
ground, I would, obviously it would probably be best to be doing those flight lessons and IFR ground. So when that comes, I personally probably won't be doing something accelerated like this while I'm doing flight lessons and everything else going on in my life, because it's a lot
Right.
to do.
Yeah. So for IFR ground, yeah, I totally get what you mean. You want to keep up your momentum of flying, but I always tell people to, when they're done with private, to immediately, you know, get into the IFR ground as fast as possible. And then maybe during that time you don't fly, you just kind of fly to stay current a little bit. Maybe you get in your first couple IFR lessons. You kind of start off your flight training slow while you work on, finishing the IFR ground, and then you get that done, and then you can really hit the rest of your training, your flight training for IFR hard.
Okay, so flight training for IFR. So you're saying like the IFR ground should come after the private pilot check ride, or should you do it since we have this now? Once we finish the written for the private pilot, should we start the IFR ground while we're starting like some of our first lessons, even before our check ride?
You can, but my assumption is that you're going to be too busy focusing on flight training and everything else you have in your life. Um,
Well, it would be the same right after I finish the check ride for the private pilot, because we can just going to continue the lessons, the flight lessons, no matter what.
yeah, but I was saying like don't do as many lessons. So you
Yeah,
finish your,
flight
your private
lessons.
pilot check ride, and then you just like, let's say you're flying like 2 to 3 times a week or something like that for your private pilot. And then once you're done with the private pilot check ride, you focus on IFR ground. And then during that time, maybe you fly once every 2 weeks just to kind of slowly get started with IFR, keep your currency, and and then focus on getting the ground done. And then once you get the ground done, then you can go back to flying a couple times, focusing on the flight lessons.
All right. My question on that is, that does sound like a good approach. What would you think of doing it this way? Is roll like finishing the passing and finishing that written, um, starting flight lessons, but starting them really slow. So do the slow part immediately, and then go right into um, the instrument ground school.
Uh,
Um, would that help with understanding and maybe get you a little more prepared once you finish your instrument ground school to, I guess, maybe be a little bit more effective and have a better understanding of your flight lessons if you're doing them really slow right out of the gate?
so
Hey, Nick, I'm doing it on my computer. Can you let me in, please? I'm switching over from my phone.
yeah,
Thanks.
someone else was talking. So Nick, I'm not quite sure what you're asking.
So I'm just saying, like, so you're saying going slow instead of, I'm just saying, like, moving that instrument ground school around a little bit, and going. So you said just keeping up your time, basically flying, pulling back on the flight lessons, while you do your IFR ground school.
Right.
And you were saying after basically you pass your check ride for private, right?
Yes. Right.
So I'm wondering if there's any benefits to going right into just starting out slow out of the gate, like when I first start flight lessons after the after I pass this written, um, and then starting out pretty slow and going directly into the IFR ground to see if
Oh,
that helps
uh,
a better
no,
understanding of flying and the private
you
jet
you
ride.
could, but no, I wouldn't because of the written, and you want it fresh for the written. It just makes more sense to
Yeah.
to um yeah. And it makes more sense to just focus on your private pilot flying. There's going to be a lot of stuff to do to prepare for flight lessons, for as well. So you'll have plenty of ground homework and flight planning things that you got to do. So, yeah, I think the way I said it is probably the most ideal way if I were to advise anybody.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't really consider the time, if I was to finish the IFR and the time between all of that to go and do that written part as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. That
Yep.
helps.
Mhm. Okay. All right. So, questions. Let's start with practice test 2. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
I apologize. I'm going to be getting ready here, so I'm going to try to stay focused, but
okay,
I gotta get ready for a Spartan run.
okay, no worries. So let's just have you guys call out different um
I have one on test two
questions.
that's at higher elevations, airports, the pilot should know the indicated altitude is unchanged and the ground speed is faster. Um, I can explain why that is true, but I don't understand the answer that's given.
What does it start with, the question?
It starts with at higher
At
elevation,
higher.
elevation airports.
Okay.
I'm on an iPad and I have to blow it up to see your thing, but I'll try to help you.
Okay. Yeah, it's right here.
There it
Uh,
is. Yeah, you've got it.
so at higher elevation airports, a pilot should know that indicated airspeed. Oh yeah, we actually we talked a little bit. It wasn't quite the same wording, but we kind of talked about this during our live lesson. So you're saying uh you don't
I
fully
get,
understand?
I don't under, yeah, I would just wonder just for 10 seconds, you could explain like I'm three. I, I don't understand really how is the, is the is the speed indicator is unchanged, but it's actually, which should we think of it as being wrong? Because you can't be in two places at once unless it's quantum, or is it that like I the
Uh,
ground speed is faster? Like, is
so
it actually an error essentially in the airspeed indicator?
yeah, yeah, basically,
Okay, then I'm okay.
yeah, indicated airspeed. Um, yeah, it's not the best, right?
Okay,
It takes a difference between static pressure and dynamic pressure.
right.
Um,
And the
to
dynamic pressure, the like molecules are farther apart, so it doesn't see it as fast. Is
well,
that
no,
the
no, no. So that the pressures, right? The difference in pressures is going to be unchanged whether you're at low altitude or high altitude. So that's kind of what this is saying. But when it comes into true airspeed and ground speed, so true airspeed is our actual aircraft relative to the air molecules around us, so our actual
yeah,
airspeed through the air. And then ground speed is our speed over the ground. Those two things, particularly ground speed, is the most useful to us, right? Right?
yeah,
And then
yes.
true airspeed would be like, okay, that's a little bit more useful to know like how fast the air molecules are whizzing past us. And then
Okay.
indicated airspeed is like, all right, it's not that useful, but we'll use it because it's what we have, type of thing. And so when you are at a higher elevation airport, you're gonna have lower density altitude. But that doesn't affect the indicated airspeed. But it will affect the true airspeed and thus the ground speed
Okay. Thank you.
because of the density. Yeah. So it says here ground speed is true airspeed corrected for wind. As altitude increases, the true airspeed for a given indicated airspeed also increases. Therefore, if the same indicated airspeed is maintained when flying an approach at a high altitude airport, the ground speed will be increased compared to the same approach at a low altitude airport. So it's because the true airspeed is increasing um, because of the density. Remember
Thank you.
that the equation we had for airspeed, it had density in the bottom of the fraction. And so if that goes down, the whole equation is gonna, the value of the equation is gonna go up.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, that's great. That's great for you to remind me of that.
yeah. Good question. Okay, what's next?
I got a question wrong about what is the difference between air mass thunderstorms and steady state thunderstorms? And I just have a hard time remembering the different kinds of weather. I think I just need to go through the lesson again.
Yeah, so Cole, I'll raise you one. So I went through the lesson again, and then I answered the things in the little practice test, and I still got some of them wrong,
Hmm.
making me wonder, but I think I've got it now for the next 15 minutes before I can forget it.
So yeah, this is just kind of rote memorization stuff, right? So
Uh-huh.
like how they group and name these things.
Right.
Um, but the steady state basically is going to stay around. And so the air mass thunderstorms, you have the downdrafts, which retard and reverse the updrafts. And then well, let me bring up that.
So I got thinking I was going to think of it as like they're almost like self-correcting thunderstorms. So that's why they're lit shorter.
That's a good way to think about it.
I just thought I got to have some way to remember it because it
Yeah.
slips out my head. I didn't know if that helped you, Cole. That's why I spoke up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to also kind of think of a quick way to, one liner like that.
I think I just can't visualize what's actually going on in the thunderstorm during this. I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah. So essentially the difference is the precipitation and downdraft. So okay, if you have continual updrafts, you're gonna have a thunderstorm for longer. So that's kind of the key thing to remember first. Um, and then the second thing is if you have downdrafts or rainfall, it's going to basically counteract those updrafts or retard them, as the weather people like to use. Um, so in a steady state, the precipitation isn't um, at the same location, or it's not, and they don't have the downdrafts in the same location as their updrafts, so it allows the updrafts to continue. Does that make sense?
Uh, I think I just go through the lesson again. I'm having a very hard time understanding it. I
Yeah.
don't get like I don't know. I don't know what I don't get.
Well, let's try and figure it out now. I think now's would be a good time.
Yeah.
So all right, so the way they're created, maybe that'll help. So steady state thunderstorms usually associated with colliding of air masses. So you have a cold air mass, a warm air mass, right? And so then you have a front where those two collide. So it's usually associated with a front. So because of that, I think you're going to get a different kind of dynamic than you would in air mass thunderstorm, which is not associated with the front. It's just kind of like a lone a lone thunderstorm. And so the
So an air mass, so a steady state thunderstorm can form out of anything, and air mass thunderstorm can just appear with the right conditions.
so steady state is formed by like a front, like colliding of two air masses. And an air mass thunderstorm is not necessarily associated with a front or colliding of two air masses, but just a single unstable air mass. So unstable air, right? It means rising air. So if you just have one air mass and you get a bunch of rising air and it has moisture in it, you can create a thunderstorm. Steady state is create the basically the instability of the air is caused by two air masses colliding and driving up that air, right? Remember we had the cold front kind of wedges under the warm front or the warm air and pushes it up. Or if you have warm air, if you have a warm front, it kind of goes up and over the cold air.
Yeah.
Yeah, so steady state is created by the instability, the rising air is created by the colliding of two air masses.
Okay.
And then an air mass thunderstorm, it's just one air mass. So there's no other air mass. So it could just be a warm air mass, but it's unstable within itself. It has rising air within itself. It could be various factors. It could be like radiation. It could be orthographic, which is caused by like maybe it's moving over a mountain, so to speak, or something. Okay, so but it's not another air mass isn't mixing with it. The, do you get that difference there?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
And
then
when it's saying air mass, it's not air masses. It's a single mass.
yeah. So
Okay.
then because the steady state is essentially being fed by another air mass, right? It's being fed by some sort of um yeah, another air mass. It's going to have different kind of lingering effects, right? It's going to can be kind of continuously fed to updraft to keep those updrafts going.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
That makes more sense.
yeah, and then there's also less in a singular air mass, it's kind of centrally located. So you're going to get your downdrafts and rain in the same location as your updrafts. And so they retard each other. They retard each other. They kind of like block
So an
each other
air
out.
so an air mass would rise a lot and then dump everything at once and be a short-lived one. And then steady
Yes.
state is going to be constantly fed and have it like like ballooning out.
Yep.
And okay, the rain will be on the edges of it.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying what is the stall speed during 3G load factor bank when the aircraft's rate and level stall speed listed at 54?
This one right here.
Yeah.
So what is the approximate stall speed during a 3G load factor bank when the aircraft straight and level stall speed is listed as 54 knots? Ah, so this is yeah, we didn't really cover this part. We kind of showed the equation, but usually we just kind of so there's two ways you could do it. You could remember that stall speed increases by a factor equal to the square root of load factor. So you could remember that, do the math, which I've shown here. Or you could be like, even though it doesn't say refer to figure, you could be like, oh wait, I remember there's a figure that wait, doesn't or is there not a figure for stall speed?
I don't think there is.
Oh,
I
okay.
think you have to do the math,
Yeah,
but
you
the
do have to
math
do the
isn't
math.
very hard.
Yeah.
Just have to remember to do the math, like all the other things, but the math isn't hard.
Yeah, sorry, I thought that was a figure, but I think that's just our figure. So yeah, so the Square root, so basically the equation is stall speed increases by a factor equal to the square root of load factor. So what you do is you say, okay, well, load factor is 3, so the square root of 3 is what? And then you apply that to your stall speed. So square root of 3 is 1.73. So you could do that on your calculator. Do we all know how to do square roots on our calculators?
Do not.
I don't, let me pull up a calculator.
Can it be any calculator? Or does it have to be an E6B?
No, I don't know if an E6B can do a square root.
I think
So
an E6B can do any normal.
I think it's just addition, subtraction, multiplication, division.
Okay. Oops. All right.
I have
Hold
like a
on.
Plano calculator and it just has a square root sign on it.
Yeah, so square root is this symbol right here. So you just
Shit,
do 3 square root. Square root is like the little kind of check mark with a line. Can we see that?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
small, but yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I kind of I can't do that.
So yeah, they'll have a calculator either on, you can call the testing center too if you don't have like a simple calculator. They don't let you bring graphical ones or ones that connect to the internet. But you can they also can supply them too. So you can give them a call and be like, hey, if do you have a calculator for me if I come for the test? And then I think that computers have them. They have like a little pop-up where you can click it and it'll bring up a little calculator.
So you just find the square root of the whatever number load factor it is, and
Yeah.
then
And
from
then you
there
take that and multiply it by your stall speed, and that's your
times by
new stall
54
speed.
equals.
That was easy. Thank you.
Yeah.
And again, you're just taking the answer that's closest. Yeah, it's one of those things. I think all the math is actually easy as long as you know it and remember it. It's the knowing and remembering it that isn't easy.
Right. Exactly. Okay. What's what do you guys got? You got more? What else did you guys miss? Test
I
two.
missed the one about intercepting the VOR course, the angle between, it was like the angle is more, it's like a bigger angle between intercepting the heading and the course. I think I have figured it out. If no one else had a problem with that, we can skip it. I think I get it. I
No,
have a
this is a good
problem
one.
about increasing the angle to, I sometimes don't know what that means.
I
Thank
got
you.
this one wrong, so
Okay, Hassan, then I don't feel so.
Let's
Yeah.
draw this out.
So no.
Yeah, this is a good one. Good one, bad one, however you want to look at it. All right, so let's say, all right. Say we wanna, our VOR course is 270. This line right here. That's our course that we want to intercept. And it says when intercepting a VOR course, the angle between the intercept heading and the course. I'm trying to think of how to want to explain this. Yeah, okay. Let me grab one of our little aircraft here. That's fine. All right, so our course Actually, hold on. Let me make this a little bit more visible for us. Okay. So this is our aircraft, and our course is when we talk about course, it's this red line. And then when we talk about our heading, it's going to be our intercept heading. It's the blue here. So the angle, right? Talking about this angle, um, it's saying when intercepting VR cars, the angle between these two, uh, should it be lower when further away from the station, which is option A? Should it be higher when further away from the station? Or it should be higher when further away from the station, and then the difference between either faster ground speeds or slower ground speeds. So let's first determine whether it should be lower or higher. So uh as we get so if we're close to the station and we want to intercept this as soon as possible, right? Um, we're going to, if we're closer to the station, we're going to be, let's say we're, like instead of on 270, let's say we're on like 240, right? That difference of being off by 30 degrees when we're real close is going to be like 5 miles. But if we're on that same 240 radial and we're out here, that's now a difference of like 10 miles, right? So the further we are away from the VOR station, even if we're only a few degrees off on the radial, we're only a radial that's a few degrees off, we're going to be much further away because as you know, as we get further away, the radial space themselves out more. So if you want to get on to your radial as soon as possible, right? If you were to pick a low angle of intercept, something like this, how long would that take you to intercept the course? It would take a really long time, right? Because you would just keep flying and you're kind of gonna it's it's kind of like this radial is kind of going as you fly this way, it's kind of going away from you too. And as you're further out, what you want to do is you want to have a higher angle, a more right angle to get on course the further you are away. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So the idea here is when we intercept a VOR course, we want to do it kind of as soon as possible, right? Because we want to be able to navigate on that course. So if we're far away and we pick a shallow angle, it's going to take us forever to get on the course. So we pick a higher angle to get us on that course as soon as possible. If we're way here, we can kind of, it's not as big a deal. We can pick a more shallow angle to kind of just, then we don't got to like turn as sharply. Like we can kind of just ease our way into it. That's kind of what that's saying.
What about the slower speed piece?
Yeah. So, I'm gonna read what I said here. I kind of forget too. I think it's kind of the same idea.
Okay. I think it is too.
Yep. Yeah, it's all
I think
about it's all about kind of the timing. So when you're out here, right, and the further you are away, the further you are off course. So if we want to get on there as soon as possible, so let's say this is our angle and we have a fast ground speed, that'll get us there quicker. But if we have a slow ground speed, it'll take a lot longer for us to make up this distance over ground. So we might want to make it even steeper the slower we are. It's Yeah, both of those things. So the angle being higher, uh, and the ground speed are all about like when you're further away from the station, even if you're just 1 degree off, you're gonna be much further in terms of distance off of your course. And so having a higher angle and a higher ground speed is going to get you on that course faster. So if you have a slower airspeed, you're going to even want a higher angle to get a higher angle of intercept to get on there as quick as possible. That make sense? Okay.
I got it.
What about everybody else? Did that make sense?
I'm not tracking on the ground speed part. Maybe I don't know if it's the way the question is worded and the answers are worded. So I understand what you're saying of why you would want. So you're saying, well, at least maybe I misunderstood. You said that you would want to get on that course as soon as possible. So would that mean you would want to be at a higher ground speed?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I see where you're confused. Yeah, so that what I said is true, but the what these questions are saying is like, okay, if you have a slower ground speed, should your angle be higher? And then if you have a faster ground speed, um, uh, trying to think of a good way to explain this. Like you don't, essentially you don't, for this one right here, option B should be higher when further from the station and at faster ground speeds. It's not, this is kind of one of those ones where it's like, what's the best answer? You wouldn't need, so you kind of got to look at these in a vacuum, right? And say, okay, let's take this statement and add option B to it and just look at that. Is that the most right statement? So when intercepting a VOR course, the angle between the intercept heading and the course should be higher when further from the station and at faster ground speeds. Okay, yeah, we want to be, it should be higher when we're further from the station. And sure, you know, at faster ground speeds, not like that's good for us, but it's not the most accurate statement because um it shouldn't be higher. Oh, why am I struggling explaining this? It's saying,
Are you comparing B and C to get like one against the other?
yeah, I'm trying to like discredit B. It's because B is saying it should be higher when both when you're further from the station and when at faster ground speeds. So at faster ground speeds, it doesn't have to be higher. It's good to be, but um, compared to option C, it should be higher when further from the station, and it should be higher when at slower ground speeds.
So
Uh,
if you were going at a faster ground speed, you could reduce that angle,
yes.
and that would make more. It would be. I kind of see what you're saying. So basically best practice if you're at a faster ground speed. Um, oh
I mean,
yeah, I mean
in the practical, if we think about this practically, I mean, we wouldn't really care, right? Because a faster ground speed would still get us on there. But what it's saying is like, um,
faster ground speed, a little bit lower angle
yeah, we
would
wouldn't
make a
need,
little more
yeah,
sense than slower ground speed with a combination of a um, higher angle with lower ground speed. That combination makes more sense than the faster ground speed with higher angle.
yeah. So it's,
Because, I
yeah,
see.
so it's like it should be higher when we're further from the station, and it should be higher for slower ground speeds. This one, it should be higher when we're further from the station. Yes. Should it be higher when we have faster ground speeds? No, not necessarily. We don't need that. that statement in itself saying our intercept angle should be higher at faster airspeeds. If we just take that statement, it's no. It can be, I mean, but it doesn't fit, right?
Yeah.
If it's more to with the slower ground speeds, we want it to be a higher angle so we can get on there faster.
Okay.
Sorry. Didn't have a good way to explain this one. It's a word jumble. All right. What's next? What else did you guys miss? Test 2.
All the other ones I had on test 2 were kind of obvious, so
Okay.
I'm done with my questions.
Anybody else?
I got quite a few more wrong, but I understand why I got them wrong, and I don't
Okay.
think I need to go over them. I mean, I can tell you if you want.
No, I think if as long as you understand why, that's the key. Hassam, Sam, Nick.
I'm just going through right now. I actually got the correct method of stating a time of 0920. I didn't realize you did the niner when it came to time. I thought that was only towards aircraft and other things, but I was wrong. And then the light beacons producing red flashes indicate question as well. Just got that wrong.
The light signal. This one.
I have a
Light
question about
beacons. Light beacons.
Mm.
why in the world would you have ground light signals if your radio is out? It seems like you just wouldn't go anywhere. I don't get that.
So some of those are confusing, like why would you like on the ground, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, if you're like thinking of a situation where you're about to take off, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. But I think they for the sake of
thorough.
completeness,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
being thorough,
Yeah,
who
yeah, yeah.
knows what sort of situation. Maybe it started from military where radio was out, but they still had to
Okay.
get out there and go fly or something.
I know it's not optional. I just wondered if there was something I was missing.
Yeah, no.
I got the operation with Class D airspace always requires. I just didn't remember that.
Okay. Let's do so the light beacons producing red flashes
Yeah.
indicate. Sam, did you have any you just got this one wrong? Do you have any questions on it?
Yeah, I think it was the same as yesterday. I think probably just going back and making sure I know exactly what, red flashes and red steady is and green steady is and green flash and then a bit of both. Probably just good to go back to that.
Yeah, so
It wasn't
Yeah, I got to
necessarily
review that.
difficult, just got it wrong.
these
I
are
think.
different than the light signals from the tower. And
Right, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I
these
think
are
that's probably because I think the obviously we do the light signals quite a lot. Like we've done the light beacons was a little bit. I was like, huh, okay. So yeah, it's funny to go have a look at it.
yeah, so red flashes are obstruction lights. And I don't know why they didn't say, maybe to confuse. They said beacons instead. It's a type of beacon, I guess, right? But basically around the airports, on tall buildings or anything that could be possibly, you know, in the landing or takeoff path, they're gonna put red flashing lights. So that's
I
what
just
that is.
remembered. I just remember that because I hike by the airport in the South Mountain. They have those huge beacons there. See them all the time.
Yeah, nice. Dick, what was your question? The class
Oh,
D something?
oh yeah, it was one of those memorization things. But yeah, I did miss that one. Operation Class B airspace always requires, and then you select from those answers. I got two-way radio communications capability, a mode C transponder, and a DSP out, but it was just the two-way radio communications capability.
I think I nearly got this wrong on as well. I got it right, but I think I thought the exact same as you, Nick.
The clarification helped because the Class D was a lower requirement than the Class C and B, which requires the Mode C and ADSB out. That's where I got confused.
Yeah, so I kind of like to think of like mode C, class C. Starts at class C, right? Mode C, class C.
That's a good way to do it. Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
And does Class C have the encoded altitude, or is that something different?
Yeah, that's mode C.
Okay.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So it's saying determine the wind direction and speed. True course is 345. True heading 350.
Wind direction. One of these.
Yes.
Yeah. So what kind of E6B do you have?
Not the, just the normal one, the paper one.
Okay.
Could we actually, Nick, go over as well as the paper one, the electronic version of this question?
Yeah, yes, let me see if I can find that video. I can't find my electronic E6B. I tried to find it the other day for class,
Oops.
and I can't find it.
All those videos you had were really helpful. I just got my electronic version and went through. It took, I don't know, probably an hour, hour and a half. We got a bunch of videos on how to use it, and that was definitely time well spent.
Nice.
Yeah.
Glad to hear.
I just tested the answers on this because I couldn't figure out how to do it from the top to the bottom.
I don't know how to do it at all.
I'm excited to see how to do it from the top to the bottom.
Okay, so let me pull up this so we can talk. So it's very similar, right? We have, let me put this over here. So it's giving us a course, a heading, true airspeed, and ground speed. Course, heading, true airspeed, ground speed. So it's the same exact example, but okay, so to use the electronic E6B, it's kind of all right. So you're gonna click the wind so it's the wind button and the wind functions here. And so a lot of knowing this is just knowing, like I said, which function you need, right? So we want the wind function, and you can see it flashing the wind. So it's in the wind grouping, and then it's the top one wind. So you'd press enter, and then it's going to ask you for your course. So we would just enter our course. Let's see here. I'm talking. Then it's going to ask our true airspeed, which we have, right? We're given the true airspeed. Then it's going to want our ground speed, which we're given. And then it's going to want our heading, which we're given.
How did you get it to ask? How did you get it to ask for the heading? I put in the course, but I don't see on mine.
So you have the sporties.
Yes, sir.
So, and you're using the wind function?
Yeah. So let me start again. So so you hit the win button, you hit enter, you type in 345, and then what?
Then you hit enter.
Oh, hit enter again. Okay, sorry, it's the enter that I missed. Okay, my bad.
Okay,
And then
yeah.
you hit 355.
Then you'd enter your
Enter.
true airspeed. So let's go back. So course. So let's pull up the problem here. So we have our course of 345. So that's the first thing you're gonna put in is 345.
Yep.
Okay. So under
Yep.
course CRS 345, then you press enter.
Yep.
And then the next thing it's gonna ask is for what did it ask for? The true airspeed.
True
So
airspeed,
so then you
ground
put
speed.
in 85 and then hit enter.
Right, okay. So
And then it's going to want ground speed, which is 95. So you input 95 and then enter. And then it's going to want heading, which is 355. So you should have 345 up top, 85 for true airspeed, 95 for ground speed, 355 for heading.
and
You
then
got
the answer I got up top was 112.4.
yep, 113 and 19 knots. So we got ish.
Yeah, that's the answer. Yeah. What were the options again? Okay, yeah. So it's obviously nothing is even close to that. Okay.
Well, what
Cool.
did you get on your calculator?
Oh no, on the calculator I got it right, but I'm saying on my original answer I got it wrong.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So it said
yeah, and then
112 and 19.
112.4 was what they came up with the wind direction. Oh, and then yeah, sorry, I see the wind speed 18.6. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the electronic.
Thank you.
Yep. And then we'll go here. So this is we did this the other day. It's kind of those ones where we gotta kind of work backwards now. So we know our ground speed, so we know where our grommet is gonna end up, right? Usually we put the winds under the true index here, and then we mark our wind velocity, and then we spin it to our course. And then we slide this so that our wind velocity mark is on our true airspeed, and then this will be on our ground speed. We know ground speed, so we can start with that on our grommet on the ground speed of 95. So we put that there. And then we also know our wind correction angle because we know the difference between course and heading. Okay, so if you look here, right, wind correction is course plus or minus wind correction and heading equals heading. So we have our course is 345 plus or minus x, right, equals 355. So what plus 345 equals 355 is essentially to figure out our wind correction angle, and that would be 10. So our wind correction angle is 10. Does that make sense, Sam?
Yes.
Okay. So our wind correction angle is plus 10. So that would mean it's to the right here, right? On this 10-degree line. So that's we're going to put our wind velocity mark somewhere on that because usually, right, we'd read off where our wind velocity mark is. We'd say, okay, oh, our wind correction angle is to the right on the 10, so it's plus 10, right? Let me get these dots out over here. So then the other thing is it also tells us the true airspeed. Now we know that we slide this so that our wind velocity mark lands on our true airspeed. So we need our true airspeed to be on 10 degrees to the right and on 85. So if we find 85, it's down here, and then 10 degrees is here. So we're going to put our mark for our wind velocity mark right there. Okay, so if we had done this normally and we spun the wheel and we slid it down, and then this was the end result, we'd say, oh, our ground speed is 95 under the grommet, and our wind correction angle is plus 10. Okay, so that's we're kind of setting that up here. Now we want wind direction and speed, and so that's what we usually start this process with. So the next step is to put in our true course, right? And I think Yeah, so set true course and a true index. So I actually did something wrong again. It's funny, I did this last time. So actually the first thing we want to do is we want to spin this to our true course before we make this mark and slide this. So our true course is 345. And again, the reason we wanted to do this is because we want to set up exactly how this would end up to get us a ground speed of 95 and a wind correction angle of 10. So now we do the same thing. We just kind of got to move our dot. So again, it's on 85 true airspeed and 10 um 10 degrees to the right wind correction angle.
Nick, why, how do you know that that dot is down, that it's there? I get how you know it's 10 over.
Yeah, so it's
How do
on
you
the
know
85. We want it to be on
on
85.
on the 85 because you know you're going to end up there?
Because that's the true airspeed that we were given.
I got you.
So usually, right,
I got you.
yeah,
I'm
we
there.
turn this to 345, our course, and then we slide it down so that our wind correction mark lands on our true airspeed
Mm-hmm.
of 85. And then we read our ground speed and wind correction angle. But we know our ground speed and wind correction angle, so we're kind of just doing it in reverse.
I got it.
Then since we put our true course under here, now it's going to work out that all we have to do is spin this until our wind velocity mark is right on the center line. And then that's going to give us our wind information. So our wind looks like 112 from 112 at 5, 10, 15, 18 knots, 19 knots. And that's the answer is 113 at 19 knots. So pretty dang close.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Should we move to practice test 3, or is there any other questions on practice test 2?
Well, let me have a quick look through here.
I got a question wrong about the magnetic compass. In the northern hemisphere, magnetic compass will be normally indicate a turn towards the north if uh, I put an aircraft just decelerated.
I think I got the
And
same wrong answer.
yeah.
You guys said decelerated?
Yeah.
I didn't. I did the other stupid answer.
Yeah, also said decelerated. Got it wrong.
Okay. So it's I think the mnemonic, it's just kind of a rote memorization thing mostly, is the ANDS, ANS. So accelerate north, decelerate south.
Yeah, I totally forgot that.
And then you could also think of the metaphor I like to use is like you're on a roller coaster and your head is the compass needle and the back of your seat on a roller coaster is north and the ahead of you is south. So if the roller coaster zooms off and accelerates, your head's going to go to the back of your seat, which is to the north. And then if you decelerate, right, you're going to lurch forward. And so forward would be the south.
I have another way with that roller coaster analogy, and I don't mean to discredit that at all. Just for me, it's hard for if you're saying like the seat behind you is north and in front of you is south. You just said it, and I just thought of it, and maybe I don't know if it helps anyone out on that. So if you accelerate, your head pops back, right? You're kind of looking up at the sky. You could, I guess, look at maybe that
Mhm.
is up is north. If you decelerate, your head kind of pops down. You're looking down,
Yeah, you could do that too.
and
I
that
mean,
is the south.
Yeah, I like that one.
technically what you could say is just the seat is the closest pole. It's the
Oh yeah.
it's the pole of, because if we were in the southern hemisphere
Mhm,
and we accelerate, the needle's going to go to the closest pole. It's going to point towards the south pole.
mhm.
So it's the opposite in the southern hemisphere. So if you just think it's like the Earth's magnetic pole that you're closest to is the back of your seat. Um, that's the other way. Kind of that's the
I
more
see.
technically correct way to think about it anywhere on Earth.
Perfect.
But yeah, if that helps you the up and down, I like that. Okay.
We look at the refer to figure 32 and 33. What is the maximum amount of baggage that can be carried when the airplane is loaded as well?
Okay. So it says, what is the maximum amount of baggage that can be carried when the airplane is loaded as follows? So I'll do this in the chat. So let's see, we got the front seat, we got the rear seat, we got fuel, and then we're wondering what baggage is. So we got front is 387. We got rear is 293. Fuel is 35 gallons. Times that by 6 gives us, what is that? 70, 140, 210. 35 times 6. Yeah.
210, yeah.
210 pounds. Okay. So that's that. So we're using this aircraft. So our empty weight is also listed here on figure 32. So let's add that empty weight. So the first thing with these questions is, it says, what is the maximum amount of baggage that can be carried when the airplane is loaded as it falls? So the first is it might not be, there's two kind of things we always have to check, right? So let me put in the empty weight rule. Is it when we load our aircraft, we want to say, okay, are we below the maximum weight? That's step one. And then step two is our CG within limits? So, so let's just check step one, because that might be all we have to do. We might not even have to calculate our CG. So what is our total weight? Let's just find that. So let's add up all these total weights.
I got it right, but did it wrong. I didn't. I just checked total weight. I didn't even. I didn't even go into checking the CG. I should have.
So it should be
No,
2,905.
no, Nick, that might be what I'm saying is that might be right. That's a good thing to check first. Because if you check your, yeah, so 2,905. So let's say, okay, it kind of says it here, 2,950, but excuse me. But you can look for the maximum weight down
Yes,
here as well, 2,950. So, all right, we're within our maximum weight. So, but that's saying, okay, well, we can take, so how much, if we're at 2,905, how many pounds of bags can we take? We can take 45 to stay under within our weight limit, right? But so that's check one. So you could be like, okay, 45 is an option, but technically, right, that could keep you within limits, like Nick was saying, um, on weight, but not on CG. So let's
yeah, I didn't check that.
yeah, so let's also do CG. Let's say, okay, if our weight, let's say our baggage is 45. We're good on weight. So weight,
Why would you need to check CG if it falls? If two obviously 220 would be over and 63 would be over, wouldn't it? Oh no,
Um,
63 would actually be
oh yeah,
63.
yeah. You're right. Yeah.
No,
So,
no, no, I'm not right. No, I'm not right. Because oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
no,
because it
you
would be
are right.
2968. Yeah,
Yeah. So both of these, yeah, good.
yeah.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah. So you could look at
We
options
can
B.
still keep doing your thing. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, we could
uh,
look at options B and C and say, okay, well, those 45 is the max we can take or be until we get over the weight limit. So B and C are impossible. So that gives us option A. So yeah, 100%. But let's say for the sake of this, that C is like 33 pounds,
mhm.
like, or something like that. I'm not going to change it, but let's say it was less than 45. Um, then you would have to be like, okay, well, does 45 fit in the CG? So let's just do that for practice.
Okay.
So then we got to come up with our total moment. Okay. So I like to, with all these pounds, I just like to use the arm values that are here. So front seat, our arm is 85. So if we just do 85 times our front weight of 387. So front moment is 387 times 85 equals 32,895. And then rear moment. So we do the same for rear. It's 293 pounds times 121 is our rear arm. 121. So that gives us 93 times 121. 35,453. All right. And then fuel. We have 210 pounds. And our fuel arm is 75. You could also just look here. This one is on the table, but I'm just gonna multiply it by 75. Calculate it ourselves. Is 15,750. And then finally our baggage at 45 pounds. Baggage arm is 140 here. So 45 times 140 is 6,300. All right. And then we find our total moment by adding all that up. We need to include our empty moment as well. So let me write that. Empty moment is listed on the chart here, right here, 1554. I'm going to add 2 zeros to that. So it's all consistent.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you on baggage? Why did you do 45 times 140? I know why we did 45, but why 140? Oh, I see it on the arm.
The arm,
Okay, my
yeah.
bad. My
Yep.
bad.
No, you're good.
So the empty moment is 155,400.
Yeah. So I'm going to add
That
all
was because
these up here.
you were adding up 6,300, 1570, 750 to
No, the empty
35,000.
no, empty moment is listed on the chart. That's empty right here. You see it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you just is that so the empty moment is that 100 times by 1554?
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's
all
what that
these
is.
moments I have in the chat, those are like they're not shorthand at all. The FAA likes to, in these figures, they like to give it in shorthand by they just divide it by 100, so there's less digits to write. It, whatever. But when we all add them all together, we need them. None of them can be in shorthand, right? They either all have to be in shorthand or none of them be in shorthand. So since I've been calculating them all not in shorthand, I just make this not in shorthand by multiplying it by 100 or
Multiplying. Yep.
adding 2 zeros. Yeah. So now that we have our empty moment, we have our baggage moment, we have our fuel moment, our rear moment, and our front moment, now we could add them all up to get our total moment. So I get
245,798.
yes. Total moment 245 798. Okay, so now we could look, and this is our minimum moment over 100, our maximum moment over 100. So our moment over 100 is basically 2457.98. Right? I just moved the decimal place over total moment.
Yeah.
And our weight is 2950. So is our total moment between these two? Or we're at
Yeah.
2457, which is above 2422 and below 2499. So we're good there as well.
Perfect. Now, do you think, Nick, I remember you saying that the FAA were trying to like shorten the like obviously when we first got the answer, the math was quite quick and easy, and it literally probably took less than 30 seconds, certainly less than a minute. And whereas that, what we just did there, takes quite a fair bit longer. Now, I'm not saying that that means they wouldn't do that any questions, but is it more likely to be that the question is going to be like how it was? Stupid question, but in the sense of really just one equation to, or one thing to fix, as opposed to the extra one that took an extra 2 or 3 minutes.
Uh, I think the question we just did where we had to check the CG, I think that's totally within the realm of something you could get.
Okay.
So yeah.
Alrighty.
The ones they got rid of are like, okay, let's say you have to find the CG, but then you also have to like do some interpolation or some other additional kind of calculation. This weight and balance might not be the best example for that, but or like if you're trying to find magnetic heading, instead of giving you all the stuff to just put it in the wind side of your E6B, they would first have you like measure something and then calculate a number to then have everything you need to then use your E6B. Those are the type of questions that they are phasing out.
Understood.
Yeah. But if it's just like one, like figure out the CG, no, I think that's definitely could be something you see.
Yeah.
Should we move on to test 3?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Test number 3. What questions we got?
This is just like it's from there, but there's this kind of easy question I missed, which is the correct traffic pattern departure per procedure to use in an uncontrolled airport? And the reason I missed it is because I was thinking uncontrolled included private airports. I'm wondering if that's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured why I got this wrong. So, okay, I'm good.
Okay.
So which is the correct
Yeah,
track?
private airports basically it's private property, so we really only would ever land there in an emergency situation and hope they're okay with it.
You got you. The one answer, can you click that one open or do you see it? The one answer about how you leave. Would A be also
This one?
right? Yeah, but not as right.
Um, depart in any direction gives us.
That's what I answered that because I saw the word safety and I know like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
answer like what she's saying, like the answer is kind like as long as you're safe in a certain sense, it's kind of right. Obviously it's not
Yeah.
in the answer, but
C is
it did trip
more
me up a little
right.
bit.
Yeah,
Right, right.
I get why C is right, but yeah, I was just thinking that, it was this whole group of airports, and because of that, some of those ones don't have an FAA traffic pattern, but that was me being silly.
So if you don't, so basically it's like step 1, does the FAA have a prescribed,
Right.
instructions for
Right.
us? Step 2 is if it doesn't, they want people to exit at a 45-degree angle on departure.
So that's why A is not even really great because it
Right.
needs
To the left, right, Nick? 45-degree to the left.
Yeah.
Right. I
Do they
got
want
it.
you to do left regardless of what the traffic pattern is?
No.
No.
if there's a traffic pattern, then you'd want to turn in that direction. Yeah.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah. And then entering, it's 45-degree into the downwind if
Oh,
there's
okay.
no traffic pattern or entry procedures that the FAA has laid out for us.
Understood.
I have problems in general understanding which of the little numbers I'm supposed to talk on those airport diagrams. Like I went into the red book and there looks like there's a whole bunch of different airport diagrams and it's not altogether clear for me. Like, is it true that APP/DEP space CON, like the number after that is always I'm
Mhm.
confused about that versus the tower number.
Gotcha. Let me
We're
pull up
talking
a,
about like you're talking
chart
about like
supplement.
CTAF to Unicom and ASOS.
Yeah, I can get those out. Is the ones tower, and then some of them say, like what I'm thinking, it's approach/departure CON, and then they have the like, yeah, like the Ohio, for example.
Which figure are you looking at?
Like we can look at that. I'm looking at Ohio figure 63, but we can look at this one here.
So this one is figure 31.
Okay, sure, sure, sure.
Thank you. Just want to make sure I'm on the same page.
So yeah, she's kind of talking like well, right here, like approach departure control. This one.
Yes, yes. I'm confused. Well, that one I would, yeah. So that one I would get right because isn't that how you talk to the tower when you want to take off and come in?
Yes.
And the one
That well,
above it is flights following.
this one here, it CTAF Unicom.
No, the
Oh,
RCO.
the RCO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It says Boise Radio. Yeah.
Okay. And
Um,
and then the R is that one there, that's the 132.1. Is that the tower?
yes, I believe so.
What does the R stand for next to Spokane?
That I don't know.
I looked it up this morning. Um, it has to do with the kind of radar that's there.
Radar
Like
services. Yeah.
Ravcon or something like that. Ravcon, it means there's Ravcon radio. If you
Sweet.
go to, I don't,
What was the other figure? You said 63?
it was Iowa. I think it's 63. Just a minute, I'll look.
Yeah, 63. Yeah, this one's a little more.
Yes, so this one's hard for me. So what?
So
Yeah,
yeah, so the other one, right? It just kind of had like one frequency for everything. That's basically what it's saying.
right. But this one, no.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
definitely a lot more complicated.
So tower is 118. What's the 126.1 for?
So okay, so when you have busier airports, they
Okay.
start to have more than one ATC controller
Oh,
to delegate their tasks, right? So what they do and how they
oh,
split up that task load is they have someone do approaches and departures. So the tower person will do like takeoffs and landings, but then
oh,
once they get on the ground, they'll hand them off to ground control. Once they get up past, a certain point on takeoff, they hand them off to departure.
oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. And then these are like, okay, if you're coming in or leaving on these degrees, you'd use
Yeah,
this
that
frequency.
is so great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
And then clearance delivery, that one always confuses me how that difference. It's pretty similar to let me look up so we can just kind of round out all these frequencies in this
That's the
example.
first time, Nick, I've seen that when you've just explained the 360 degrees to 179 degrees. That's the first time I've ever
Yeah, I love
A,
that.
realized that was a thing, and B, noticed that. So it's really interesting that that's a thing.
Yeah, and it's
Oh,
all about, them being able to handle all the traffic, right? They have to
right,
delegate.
what direction it comes
Yeah.
from makes sense.
So when the towers close, we use Unicom or we use ATC, ATIS?
Say that again. Sorry, I was reading something.
So when the tower is closed, we use Unicom?
Yeah, you'd
Okay.
use yeah.
And how is that different than CTAF?
Uh, it's pretty much the same.
Okay,
Some of them have both.
okay,
And
And
ATIS is just the weather, right?
yeah, ATIS is weather. So Unicom and CTAF, this is what Google's saying, are both used at non-towered airports, but they serve different purposes that are somewhat used interchangeably, which can cause confusion.
okay.
CTAF is frequency pilots use to self-announce their position at non-towered airports. Unicom is non-government radio frequency operated by private business, usually an FBO, to provide airport information and services. So it's kind of like the Unicom is more so for like uh almost like the airport businesses talking to each other, like like fuel
Oh,
services and stuff. But at certain airports, pilots use those too. So they are kind of interchange. They're sometimes in a lot of situations the same. Um, so if there is no CTAF listed, use Unicom. But if there's a CTAF, use CTAF.
got it. Thank you.
And then for the clearance delivery, I had to look that one up. Um, I always forget. So clearance delivery is basically like, yeah, that's right. Okay. So it's like you before you even taxi. So you do them on the ground and basically you like you're essentially giving them a heads up of your flight plan. So provides you ATC clearance for entering controlled airspace and flying your planned route under IFR. So it's IFR, whereas departure is you would talk to them in the air. So clearance delivery basically like helps you be like, hey, I have this flight plan. I'm gonna blah 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 blah. They kind of put you into the queue, so to
I
speak.
get it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the ground communication would be like things not about the queue.
Yeah, so if you had like an IFR flight plan, so if you're flying VFR private pilot, you're never going to use clearance delivery. You may, if you have a flight plan, depending on your airport, you could use it. I'm not saying you wouldn't use it, but it's mostly for IFR pilots. But let's say you had an IFR flight plan, you would, before taxiing, you call them up, be like, hey, I have this flight plan. I'm going to do this, this, and this. They may ask you questions or something like that. Okay, good. You've talked to clearance delivery. They know you're coming. Then you would start your engine. You would contact ground control, say, hey, I want to taxi to this runway. Ground control would direct you there. Once you get to the runway, you would contact the tower, say, hey, I'm ready for takeoff. The tower would tell you when to take off and which direction to kind of leave. And then once you get to a specific point, tower would be like, okay, contact departure on 126.1. Then you'd contact departure, and then departure would see you off, uh, and then ultimately hand you off to the next ATC along your route.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Or if there isn't an ATC, you would go to 121. Isn't there a like default?
Oh yeah. There's
You thinking of 121.5?
that's
Yeah.
the um
That's more so in the air, though, isn't it, than posted on the ground?
well, so you're thinking of the so 121.5, that's the emergency frequency.
Oops.
Um, you would do the CTAF, in the area, but you're saying between airport to airport.
Yeah, you were doing such a good job of walking me through like I took off and how I did the radio. And then you are out of that. You're out of, in this case, Toledo Express. Then what?
Yeah, so I mean, typically if you're using departure and all those, they would pass you on to like um the next radio with jurisdiction, so flight following
Okay.
with jurisdiction, and then they would tell you, to squawk, they'd get you on their radar, and then they would tell you to maintain a heading and course, and then once you got to the boundaries of their jurisdiction, they would pass you off to the next. They kind of,
Thank
they're
you.
they're
Thank
there to
you.
watch you. Yeah.
And so the next line is airspace colon class C service continuous. That app con that should I know what that is? Because I don't.
Right here.
Yes.
It says Class C services continuous contact approach control. I think it's just saying it's just a
Oh,
note.
it's just saying use 126.1. That's what it's saying.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it.
It's basically saying this airspace is always in effect, so you need to um you need to contact the tower before you
Straighten up.
arrive. Yeah.
Right. Got it.
Yeah, and I think there's confusion too, like with what I just said. I said you need to contact the tower. Technically, you would contact approach, right? When they have, but they're all inside the tower. So it's kind of confusing because there's a tower frequency, but there's also right next to them is the approach and departure guys or gals. But I guess it's kind of confusing.
That
Okay.
really helped. I tried to work on this by myself and I couldn't figure it out. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad.
I got a little stuck on the when there is a temperature inversion you would expect to experience. I did not select the right answer.
Okay, so what's a temperature inversion? Can you give me the definition?
I've just read it, so kind of cheating, but it's the reverse of the normal situation where air gets cooler as altitude increases. Um, so once you read that, it kind of all makes sense. But
So as
I think
altitude,
it was. Sorry, go ahead.
so in a temperature inversion, what happens to temperature as altitude increases?
The temperature increases.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's just difficult because you think as you go higher, the higher the altitude, the cooler it gets. And yes, I know the word inversion is there. It was just hard to kind of envision that in my mind. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. What else?
I got a couple more if nobody else does.
Go for it.
In fact, there was four in a row here I got wrong, so I don't know if it'll be the same order for you, but what is one purpose of wing flaps? Again, just need to remember that, and I certainly need to know that. So, um,
So yeah, I mean, this is kind of like one of those ones where you got to kind of look at the other answers to make sure those don't work as
yeah,
well. So option B, to relieve the pilot of maintaining continuous pressure on the controls. No, that's describing a trim.
trim exactly, and then
C, decrease wing area to vary the lift. It's actually increasing our wing area technically when we
right,
deploy flaps. So
process of elimination.
process of elimination can help you with this one, and then also just knowing the purpose of flaps, the kind of the definition of why we use flaps, and it's the whole point of it is so we can with fixed wing aircraft, right? Um, they're making all these vertical takeoff, vertical land, like air taxis or whatever, right? Those are so ideal because you don't need a runway to like slow down and land or slow down and take off, right? So with fixed wing aircraft, we have to um, do that, right? And if we have too much airspeed when we're landing, we'll just never stop flying. So like we have to like perfectly manage getting as slow as possible, as close to the ground and timing that perfectly. Basically, a good landing is basically stalling the aircraft as soon as we touch down, and
Yeah.
flaps help us to do that. They help us to make steeper approaches to land without increasing the airspeed. So we can kind of set it down steeper and slower.
Yeah. And then I had another one that was it's a little bit of math here, so refer to figures 32 and in fact, did we go? No, this wasn't it. Yeah, refer to figures 32 and 33, which action can adjust the airplane's weight to maximum gross weight and the CG within limits for takeoff. If we could, if you're willing and everybody else is willing, just run through that again as well. That'd be great.
Yeah, let's do it.
But I get it.
I'm sorry, can you repeat what the question was? I completely zoned out for a second.
Refer to figure 32 and 33, which action can adjust the airplane's weight. It's right here on the screen for you guys. Oops. Now it's gone. There it is.
What were the three answers for that?
Drain 12 gallons, drain 9 gallons, or transfer 12 gallons.
Oh, I remember doing this question. Okay.
Did you get it right, Cole?
I did, because I did 12 I knew I just used the process of reasoning. I did the weight and balance for 12 gallons of fuel. And then I saw that the arm for the auxiliary tanks was higher than the main tanks. So I knew if it wasn't 12, if 12 was too it couldn't be C because the arm is farther out for the auxiliary tanks. If it wasn't 12, it was 9, and I did 12. It wasn't 12, I picked 9.
So yeah, I like that. You're using your knowledge of arms and how a longer arm is going to increase your moment, and increasing your moment is going to increase your CG. So good. I like that. But yeah, I think the easiest way, or kind of the strategy for this one, is really just kind of kind of going one by one, and seeing if they work. So let's use that strategy here. Let me pull up the figure 32.
Yep.
All right. So let's figure out what our weight in CG is right now. So we have front of 425. We have rear of 300. We have fuel of 44.
That's 44 times by 6, right?
Yep. Or we can just, it might be in here. It gives us the weight here
True.
too. But yeah, 44 times 6 equals 264. And that's it, right? Okay. So then we'll add our empty weight, which again we get from the figure to 2015. All right. So now let's do our total weight. So 2015 plus 264 plus 300 plus 425 equals 3004. Is that what you guys got?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so we know from the previous question, right, that our maximum weight is 2950. So we need to lose, just to get within our max weight, we have to lose 54 pounds, right?
Mhm.
Equals 54 pounds. Question says, which action can adjust airplane's weight to maximum gross weight and the CG within limits for takeoff? So we know that, okay, we need to lose 54 pounds. Let's just start with weight. Let's see which one of these will get us within the weight limits.
So we would times that number by 6, which is what fuel weighs. So it would be 12 or 9 times by 6.
Yeah, so 12 times 6, that'll do it. That's 72. That'll be enough. 9 times 6 is 54.
Yeah.
So that'll do it. And then transferring will not do it because that's not losing us any weight,
Right.
right? So let's try 12 first, just for the sake, right? Let's say we're just going in order, A, B, C.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's say we do that. So we lose 72 pounds of fuel, right? Because it says, yeah, drain. So fuel equals now 264 minus 72. So that's 192. So our new fuel weight is 192. Our new total weight is 3004 minus 72. 1 minus 72. 2932. All right. So we have new fuel and new weight. So now let's find the moment. Okay. So let's do our front moment is going to be 425
Would
times.
it not? I'm sorry, forgive me. I'm reading the text chat. So obviously we had our total weight, then we had the 2004 minus the 2950 is the 54 pounds. But you then put for the fuel is 264 minus 72 is 192 pounds. So would the next one, the total weight not be 3004 minus 192, not 72?
No, because we just lost. We're doing option A, saying we drained 12 gallons of fuel, which means we're losing 72 pounds.
Okay.
So we lost 72 pounds from our fuel station, and we also lost 72 pounds from our total weight.
Okay.
So does that make sense?
It
Or
makes sense. It makes sense.
okay. So I'm calculating the moments here. Let me know if you have any questions on that. I'm just using the arm values, multiplying them by the weight. 36,300 for that. Front, rear, fuel. And now our fuel is 192 because we lost 72 times 75. 75 is the arm for fuel, 14,400. And then we have our empty. Um, yeah, sorry. Our empty moment on here is 1554 0. Okay, now we can find our total moment. So we just add up our empty moment plus our fuel moment plus our rear moment plus our front moment. I get 242,225.
Yep. Same.
Okay, so now our CG is going to be 242,225 divided by our new total weight of 2932. So, well, we don't actually need our CG, right? So the way this figure 32 does, we just need to check that, make sure that it's within limits. So at 2932, so that's going to put us right around here. And then our moment is 2422 essentially. So 2422, that fits in between these two values. It's above 2399 and it's below 2483. So that would work. So the 12 gallons of fuel would work. So that's kind of which action can adjust the airplane's weight to maximum gross weight. This is not a very good answer explanation. I need to update that. So I just want to double check to make sure we didn't make any mistakes. Or I'm wondering, is this question there's two right answers.
I
And
did it using the little moment chart at the bottom and I don't, and the 12 didn't work out.
the 12 didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking at it this minute. I can look at it, but
So let me just see if we made any mistakes here.
I was going to say, isn't A technically also correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
Because that's what I
Yeah.
got. That
But
well,
9 keeps it a
12
bit
didn't work
closest.
out when I worked on it. I don't,
so our fuel was 44 gallons times 6, 264. Okay, then we drained 12 gallons, 72 minus 264, 192. Okay, that brings our, yeah, okay. Front, it's 425 times 85. Just kind of double checking everything here. Rear is 300 times 121. Right? 300, 21. And then our fuel is, we have 192 for our fuel times 75. 14,400. So if we do 14,400, let me add these all up again. 36. $242. So 2932 and 2422. 2932. 2422. That would work.
I must have made a mistake when I did the 12. So would you go ahead and pick 9 just because you would reason you would want to drain as little fuel as you
Yeah.
wanted, just
Yeah.
because you always want to have the most fuel in the world?
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you're me, you did the math wrong on 12, then you also selected.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
is exactly the case there. Which is, I don't know if I don't know where I got this question, if I designed it myself or it all kind of blurs in my head these days, but this is I'm just thinking because I mean, this is a tough one because I could see a student, right, doing A first and being like, okay, it works, pick A.
Right.
Um,
So this is a good lesson.
it
We
is a
should
good lesson
we
to,
shouldn't do that. We should
yeah,
do them all.
exactly.
And
Right.
yeah, and so it's good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sam, for bringing it up because
Yep. And I think
if
you
you're
hit the nail on the head, like in the sense of, obviously you want to take up the least amount of fuel. I mean, you don't want to, just drain a ton of fuel for no reason. So yeah.
And I'm making a note to explain that in this answer explanation better.
Good find. Good find.
Okay, what's next?
I've got another, but
Oh, yeah, you can keep going, Sam.
you sure? No, you have a moment.
I clicked off of it. Where is it? I gotta find it. Um, a pilot and 2 passengers landed on a 2,100-foot east-west gravel strip.
Pilot and 2 passengers.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So I don't understand why you would want to wait and rather than just taking off into a headwind because you meet it looks like you meet the clearances on the question. I just don't understand why you wouldn't just take off. Why would you wait?
Let me read it here. It's a wordy one. The temperature is warmer than expected and after computing.
I just took like the answer cold. The way I looked at it was it's just the safest thing, and I know it's all about safety.
Yeah.
I mean, I still thought that was the answer. Don't get me wrong, but I was like,
No, that's it. That's exactly it. And
I don't want
it's
you
the
risking
fact
anything.
that you calculated it'll take 1980 feet to take off. You only have
Still got 200 feet of runway. No, 120 feet of runway.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, that is really short.
and so it's just really close.
Yeah.
So this question's kind of getting at like just because it's under, like you also have to think of, what if you have to abort your takeoff halfway through and then you have to stop
And
or
then you're on a grass field and you can't hit the brakes.
yeah, and then it's also yeah, gravel strip, exactly. Gravel strip, warmer than normal. So yeah, I didn't even catch that gravel strip. That's a huge piece of it too. Um because maybe your performance charts don't even account for that in your POH. Maybe they don't even have you know what I mean? That's definitely going
Yeah.
to decrease your performance. It's warmer than standard. You're already close to the
A
value.
gravel
So
strip or a grass field, does that actually affect your takeoff?
yeah.
It does?
Yeah. I mean, just think about it. Like the traction of your tires is different. So, there could be more imperfections. If grass is wet, that's going to really disrupt the traction. Um, if it's wet, it could be muddy. And the weight of your aircraft will depress into the mud. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's some charts like in the takeoff.
And there's one question that I had about another question that I can't find it. It was something about there was chart supplements and the closest city to the chart supplement, and I just could not find it on the chart supplement.
I'm telling you, that magnifying glass is the bomb diggity. I know it's very grandma of me, but it really works. I'm going to give you guys
No,
a visual. You see?
I was just about to say, I want to see you in the FAA written going like,
I'm so doing it. I don't care.
you know what you should get? You should get a little pocket chain that you
I
can
should. That would be
pull it
super
out.
cool. That'd be super cool. I would pull it out with great drama.
pretty gangster.
But yeah, look here. I just wanted to bring this up. Right here, this note, right? If it's grass runway, it says it increases your distance by about 20% by just not being
Oh, wow. Okay.
asphalt. Yeah. And gravel would have a similar number. I don't know if it's 20%, but it would be something similar.
I feel like the gravel's like in between grass and asphalt.
Probably, yeah. So chart supplements. What did we say the figure was? It was like figure 63. There was one that we were going over. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said the closest city.
Yeah, it was like landmark near like the question was saying like asking where the closest city was. And I think I guessed and got it right, but I was just a guess. I could not find the information at all.
Yeah, so it's right here, this 6 SE. So
6 southeast is
this airport is 6 miles southeast of the closest major city, which would be Toledo.
Yeah,
okay.
the way I remember this is it's like the almost the first bit of information because I first got this wrong when we were asked this in the class, but it's like almost the first bit of information
And
in
so
terms
the
of
Gotcha.
airport is southeast of the city, not that the city is southeast of the airport. Which way does this go,
I'm not sure about. That's a
Wasabi?
good question.
great question.
Let's see here.
I
Airport.
thought it was the other way.
I would think that the airport was southeast of the city, personally.
Is there a there's a legend, right?
You're right, Sam.
You think the same, Hassan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think the airport is southeast of the city. Could be wrong, of course. Probably am.
So we're looking at number 5. So remember, this is in your uh bigger books. So you'll get
Where are you?
in the
Legend 2.
legends. Yeah. So it says 5. So we look down for number 5. Airport location. Airport location is expressed as distance and direction from the center of the associated city in nautical miles and coordinate points. So it's the airport location
Relative to the city.
from the city. So I think I had that right when I
Yeah,
said it.
airport location is expressed as distance and no.
Yeah. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's yeah. So
You
if
said
it's
it right. I'm
yeah.
just confirming.
So it says 4 NE. So the airport is 4 miles to the northeast of the city.
Yeah.
Yes.
The airport is northeast of the city. The city is not northeast. So the city would be southwest.
Right.
Right.
So I think that makes sense because if you're like, let's say you're flying, it's easier to spot a city or know where a big city is, and then you could be like, okay, when I'm, because it's actually kind of hard to find airports when you're flying.
Especially at night.
Yeah, and so you'd be like, okay, well, I need to look 4 miles northeast of the city, and I'll find my
That
airport.
happened with me and my flight instructor one time. It was nighttime. We almost landed at the wrong airport. Like we were on final at the complete wrong airport, and when you realized we were at the wrong one.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I remember one flight lesson. I was so stressed out because like it was during the day and I couldn't like we were on some cross country flight and my instructor was like, okay, you should be able to see the airport. And I just couldn't see it. I couldn't find it on the ground.
Oh, there's nothing worse when they say, "Can you see it?" And you go, "No." And they're like, "It's right there," and you're like, "I'm not seeing it, dude." Like
Yeah.
you just feel
The
like
airport I
such
fly
an
out of
idiot.
is so easy to spot because my airport's right off the Hudson River, right next
Oh,
to a
nice.
bridge.
Oh,
And
nice.
it's like a unique bridge. It's the bridge actually you fly over where the bridge connects with the land to land.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It is pretty cool. Sometimes you'll be driving over the bridge and you'll see a plane fly over at like 50 feet.
Nice.
Nice. Okay.
I got a couple more. Oh, somebody else.
No, go ahead, Sam.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll go after you.
All right. So that one was just remembering the different symbols for vortex and DMEs, but I got a little ripped up with the refer. Well, I've got a few if everyone's okay with it, but whatever. Refer to figure 270. What is the recommended communications procedure? And maybe Sherry, right? Sherry, I think you were talking about this earlier on.
Yeah, I think now we got it.
Yeah, I think now we do.
missed this one because I knew I didn't get it, and then I knew I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to miss it from here on out. So thank you. I think we got it.
So yeah, so hours when the tower is not an operation, that's our hint that it's, basically uncontrolled.
Yeah.
And then so we want to look for the CTAF. And so that'll be right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, yeah, you basically when you're at an uncontrolled airport, you just need to communicate. That's your goal is just if there's any other traffic, any other aircraft, you need to communicate with them. So, um, you need to announce what you're doing. Like, hey, I'm so let's say you're approaching an airport. I'm 5 miles to the northeast. I'm going to be landing on runway 15. And then you get a little bit closer and you say, your tail sign where you're at and say, I'm going in, entering pattern 45 to the downwind, right? You just kind of keep announcing. And if there's someone also coming in, then they would say what they're doing. And
Yeah.
if there's some sort of conflict, you'd figure it out.
But this one you're showing, it has it all the time, right? The one we're looking at on the screen.
Like the tower
Yeah.
is operational all the time.
It says
Um,
attended continuously under
um,
airport remarks.
I don't know if
That's
attended,
what that,
that's not necessarily the tower.
okay. So
That
you
could be
go
like
to the
fuel
tower.
services or other things
I
like
get
that.
it. I get
Yeah.
it. So you just go down to the tower and you look at their times. That makes total sense.
Yeah, right here.
That's what I did wrong.
And
Besides,
then
I didn't
this
get it.
little symbol,
Yeah.
it's something to do with, I used to know what that is. Um,
Wow.
Crap. I shouldn't have brought it up because I forgot.
That's okay.
I think it's something to do with like daylight savings time or something.
Probably. It's the devil.
Yeah. Anyways.
So in this question, why we didn't use the Unicom frequency? It's the 122.95.
Yeah, so we talked about this earlier. They can be Unicom can be used for these purposes, but if there's a CTAF, you always want to use the CTAF
Okay.
for, and talking to other traffic and announcing your positions. Okay, Hassam, you had a question?
Yes. So refer to figure 47.
Okay.
While in a final approach, yes.
Okay, well, on final approach to a runway equipped with a standard two-bar VASI, the lights appear as shown by illustration D. So 2 red. This means that the aircraft is below the glide path. So on a 2-bar VASI, right, there's 4 different combinations they can give us, which they've shown here. 2 whites mean you're above your glide path. 2 red means you're below your glide path. Red on top means you are slightly below, and the red on bottom means you're slightly, sorry, red on,
The other way around. Yeah.
yeah, red on top means you're slightly below. Is that what I said? Let me think about this.
I
Yes.
thought the red on the, I don't want to be, you're the teacher. Sorry.
No, I'm trying to remember this as well.
I thought B was the best case scenario. I remember that there's
Well,
the little like I don't know what, it's not a mnemonic, but like red, you're dead. I know it sounds awful, but so red just means like, if it's all red, you're too low. And then there was a couple of something like white over red, go ahead. Somebody might have told me before. That's why I think B was whatever. Maybe I'm wrong.
so this,
And then
Right on top of your above your glide path.
So I was confused because they didn't say like it's too red. It's just like 2 bar. So I don't know. It's like C or D or.
well, it says illustration D.
Oh, oh, I saw it now.
Yeah.
I have to read the question right.
Yeah. But going back to these, yeah, So what I'm thinking of, so the way these work, right, is it's just a light that's white and red, and then depending on the angle that you look at them, right, it'll turn from white to red. So if we are right, so the white lights are angled kind of upwards. So if you're up above, the glide path, you look down, and if you're looking down at an angle, right, you would see white. And then as you get lower and lower, they start to turn red. And so I would think this is saying, I would think like technically the top would turn red first as you can get lower and lower, just from the angle. But I don't know. I'm trying to think about that.
I feel like
Um,
it'd be the other way around. I'm
I don't know.
gonna look it up.
But this says indication B is not a normal flight. Yeah, let's look it up. This says, let's see here, these images. Come on. Low, on. Okay, so it's just the three indications. Yeah.
Yeah,
High,
so
on, low. So it's saying, yeah, this one's not even possible. And I think that's kind of what I was getting at. Is it like,
yeah, you're right. On the Vasi, on number 3 on my image here, on glide slope is red, then white.
right? So because if you're coming down, so let's say you have both white, and as you
Mhm.
come down, the top row is going to show red. So it's never possible to have, right? To get the bottom to show also red, you'd have to go lower and then they'd both be red. So it's never, yeah. I don't know why they include that in this picture, but I guess it's good to think about.
So we could
What
have
is
this conversation and never forget it again. It's great.
Yeah.
what is OLS on this image that I've got? It's got Papi, Vasi, and OLS. I'm guessing that's something to do with flying IFR.
Where?
On the image I'm looking at on the internet, sorry, it's
Oh.
I don't think you have it there, but it just says Papi and then has the images of Vasi and then has the images and then has OLS. I'm guessing it's
OLS.
OLS, yeah. If
I'm
I don't think
guess
it's a zero. Guessing that's something to do with
yeah, probably something landing system. I know there's
yeah,
ILS, which is instrument landing system, so it's probably something.
let's say what it is. But okay, cool.
Yeah.
This is a good question or a good one to go.
Sam, did you have another?
Yes, sorry, I do have just a couple.
Okay.
Oh, if you ever did that one. The wind at 5,000 feet AGL.
Mm. So yeah, if you kind of look at like winds aloft charts,
Mhm.
you're gonna kind of see like some patterns of winds at like, 6,000 feet, 9,000 feet, 10,000 feet. Like, yeah, they'll get higher as you go, faster as you get up. But then once you get down to like 3,000 feet or near the surface, they're kind of like totally different. And so that's kind of what question is getting at. And it's basically if you think about it, um, wind is just air like flowing over the surface of the earth. And then it's kind of like air flowing over our aircraft. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Air flowing over our aircraft wings, right? We want that to be as smooth as possible to have that laminar attached flow. But even at the microscopic level, our wings are rough and there's friction between the air and the roughness of our wings. Well, the Earth's surface isn't very smooth, right? We got trees, buildings, mountains. We got all sorts of different terrain. And so as it flies, as the wind kind of goes over their surface, once you get down to about 5,000 feet or below, the friction, the it interacting with the terrain starts to change wind direction, wind speed, and all that stuff.
Sense. And then I had two more. One of them super easy. I can just remember. I honestly didn't think this would be the answer. Each person who holds a pilot certificate or medical certificate shall present it for inspection upon the request of any dot dot dot. I um I knew the person in a position of authority was too vague, and I thought it would. I don't know. I just thought this for a local law enforcement officer wouldn't be their full jurisdiction per se. So I did the DOT one, but I suppose it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, so just kind of remembering the FAR. So the FAR says it could be NTSB, National Transportation Safety Board, FAA administrator, or any federal, state, or local law enforcement. Just kind of, you got to remember the FAR on that one.
Right, right. And then the only one I have, the last one I have, is the 100-hour inspection was due at 3302.5, and I've this wrong. Well, I have got this wrong. I don't know.
Okay, so 100-hour inspection was due at 3302.5 hours. The 100-hour inspection was actually done at 3309.5 hours. When is the next 100-hour inspection due? So, what is the
Oh yeah, you know what? Just looking at it, like yeah, I think maybe I've mixed the two around and read it as being the inspection was done at, but was supposed to be done at 3309. Like it was almost done early, so you kind of get like a credit for it, if that makes sense. But it was the other way around, and you need to you can't go over 100 hours. Well, it's supposed to go over 100 hours.
Well, you can go over 100 for up to 10
10,
hours as long
10.
as you are taking the aircraft to a place where the inspection is going to be done,
Done. Yeah.
but you don't start your next 100 hours at that 3309 number.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's it for me. Thank you, everyone.
Mhm. Any other questions?
I just have like a question about process. So we complete the 4 tests, assuming that we continue to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Does it happen automatically or we send an email? I think Tim and I have a Tuesday test date. So I
Yeah.
guess I'm basically asking, I have to have the 4 tests and improvement done by Sunday night, Monday.
So Tuesday morning is your test?
It's a Tuesday noon.
Tuesday noon. Yeah, so sometime on Monday at the latest, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, we can get that. We'll get notified that you're done with the test, but since you guys are just send us an email as well when you finish, just a double reminder, just so we don't
Okay.
miss it since your tests are on Tuesday.
I have one last question.
Mhm.
Refer to figure 273.
Okay.
It says, what's that? Okay, it says here, what are the basic VFR weather minima required to take off from the Onawa, Iowa 36 airport during the day?
Okay. So
Um,
what's the first step?
Working out the airspace.
Yep. So here's Anawa, right?
Yeah.
So what airspace are we in?
Well, you see that I'm gonna make myself look like an idiot. I don't know because I thought it was something, but obviously it's not. With it being out there in the open, there's nothing around it that made me go, "Oh, it's that." So I assumed it was. I think I assumed it was. I think I might have assumed it was G, but it's actually E, or
So
other way around.
so at the surface, it's gonna be G.
Uh-huh.
Um, so we're outside of these
Ah,
shaded magentas, enclosed areas for class E. So outside of that means class E starts at 1200. So when we're taking off, we'll be in uncontrolled class G until 1200 feet AGL.
okay.
And so yeah, so you just have to know basically class G. Does it say? It says during the day. The question says during this. So class G during the day under 1200 feet AGL. That's the VFR weather minimums we need to remember, which is 1 COC. So yeah,
Hey, Nick.
so that's where you went wrong. Sam is the airspace.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to think if I'd known the right airspace, I would have probably got the answer right, but because I didn't, it sent the whole thing off.
Yep. Assam, you had a question?
Yeah, so like in your course, like
Mm-hmm.
the triangle,
Mm-hmm.
it's like when you draw it, you draw like the left side in G airspace, you draw the night,
Mm-hmm.
and the right side you draw the day. And a YouTube video like yours, you draw the day in the left and the night at the right side. So it's gonna be confusing for people. I
Mm-hmm.
just
Right.
wanna let you know.
Oh, I did it opposite.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess whatever, it doesn't really change anything, right? But whatever works
it
for
will
you.
confuse people a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, this is our last class. So if there's no other questions, I just kind of want to chat about kind of strategies on the multiple choice test. So let me pull up. I think I have some information here. Give me one moment. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So, number one, read the whole question and all the answer options. Even if you think option A is correct, still read all the options. And we had a good example of this today. Even if it's one of those questions where you kind of got to try A, B, and C and see if it works. And even if option A works, it's worth it to make sure the other options do not, to really find the best answer. So that one's easy. But number two, on your scratch pad, write the answer that comes to mind right after you read it. This is often the correct answer and can help you decide when you are undecided between the two answers. Okay, so use your kind of read the question, read all the answer options, and then just on your scratch pad do question one, question two, question three, and just put the answer that you think is right away. Unless especially if you know that you're gonna have to think about the question a little bit more. Because if you're undecided, it's kind of your brain is remembering something. Your subconscious is remembering something. It might just not be at the top of your brain. And so it's usually more right than wrong, believe it or not. So if it gets to the point where you just have to guess, it's usually the best to go with what your first instinct was. Number three, if you still aren't sure, start eliminating ones you know are not correct. Okay, so this is it's just gonna if you have to guess, right? Let's say you totally don't know, you have no idea, right? And you didn't even have a first instinct, but you can look at A, B, and C, and you can say, well, okay, I know it's not C. So you cross off C, and then now you have a 50% chance of getting it right with your guess, right? So you've improved your chances a little bit if you can, process of elimination, get rid of some of the answer options. Number four, if after you perform all those steps and you still don't know it, mark the question and skip it for the time being. Answer all the questions that you know first. Then once you are done with those, come back to the ones you don't. And I talked about this before. What we don't want to happen is we don't want to get to the point where our time is running low and we have like 20 questions left, okay, that we haven't even read, right? So, and that could happen if, like, let's say there's 2 or 3 questions where we spent like 10 to 15 minutes on or something like that. That might be an exaggeration, but so those 2 to 3 questions that we spent 10 to 15 minutes on, they count just as much as the 20 questions we didn't even get to. There's the same amount of points. So it's not smart to spend so much time on one question. So again, if they usually say, so you get 2 hours, there's 65 questions. So it's a little bit less than 2 minutes per question, right? Yeah. So if it's taking you, so I would say usually a minute, spend about a minute. If you still, if you do these things and you still, can't really figure it out, mark it, move on. This way, again, let's say you get to the end and your time's running out, but now you've gone them all, you've done them all, and now maybe it's just the ones that you marked that you have to go back to, right? And also, before you mark it, put your best guess. Okay. That way, if you run out of time and you can't go back to the ones you marked, at least you put an answer off. At least you gave yourself a chance, right? And didn't leave it blank. Does does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of what this one says, right? Don't leave it blank before marking it and continue. You just want to make your best guess, but still mark it. And then if you do have time, which you probably will, you can come back and then be like, okay, think about it some more, maybe do some more calculations or whatever, and maybe get a better answer. Here's some other techniques on doing that educated guess. Try to eliminate at least one answer option. Talked about that, giving yourself a higher chance of guessing. Here's a really key one that I thought helps probably on a few questions. Look for words like always or never. These words mean your answer cannot have any counter examples or situations that make it untrue. So sometimes these are also in the answer options as well. So what this means is like, it helps you logically think about the question. So if it says like, what, let me see if there's an example here. Like always. Yeah. So clouds, fog, or dew will always form when. Okay. So if you can think of, so let's say you're thinking maybe it's option B, right? Water vapor is present. Well, if you can think of one counter example to water vapor being present and cloud, fogs, or dew not forming, then this is not right. So it has to, right? So these words always and never can kind of help you logically think about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is always, if all else fails, look for positive answers as opposed to negative ones. So negative answers will have words like not, never, or don't. These are kind of last, like if you totally, all else fails, you still have no idea. these last couple things. And then the final one is look for answers with the most information. Oddly, this is the correct answer more often than not. But again, those are kind of just if all else fails. Like, don't do that instead of other things, right? Only if you're completely like, I have no idea. I have no educated guess. I can't eliminate any answers. Um, and it's just complete guess. And there's one answer that has like more information and it's longer and it doesn't, let's say it doesn't have like a negative in it, then go with that one. But that again, don't do that. I don't want you guys to hear what I'm not saying, right? Don't do that instead of other things or logically thinking about it and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, believe it or not, these things can it could possibly maybe, having the plan is the biggest one. I want you guys to do with the plan of like, about a minute, maybe a minute and a half on each question, if not skip it. But before you skip it, give your best guess and mark it. That is probably the biggest key to your test. Some other things I want to mention is get a good night's sleep. Stop your studying kind of early the night before. Don't stay up late and cram. It's really important to get a good night's sleep. There's multiple studies that show that the effects of sleep on brain performance and test performance. They literally had people get good sleep and then people get bad sleep and then take cognitive tests, and it was like 10 to 15% worse when you got bad sleep. So get a good night's sleep. You'll make more mental mistakes if you don't. And so to do that, stop your studying early and just know that at this point, that's all I can do. What I like to do is I say, okay, get a good night's sleep, quit your studying early, get a good night's sleep, relax, have a good, morning, have a good breakfast if you eat breakfast or whatever. And then those rote memorization things, I mentioned like get to the testing center and sit in my car and just review those rote memorization things, the airspace triangle, maybe a few FARs, maybe right away rules, kind of these things that were tougher for you to remember. Um, Review those so they're fresh in your mind and then go in and take the test. Does anybody else have any tips on test taking strategies? No? Um, I would add one more is probably just double check. Um, especially if an answer comes to you quickly, make sure you kind of read the question again and make sure you have all keywords and all key information in it. Like for example, not to call you out, Hassam, but where you missed it saying illustration 4, that's more common than we think, right? Our minds do crazy things and they just skip over words. So just, make sure you identify all bits of information in a question.
I think reading the question fully is huge. I know it sounds so obvious, but I used to do the same thing when I was in high school or whatever, and one of my tutors had said, put RTFQ, which stands for obviously read the fucking question, because you can scroll you've got all this like knowledge in your head and all this whatever, and you've worked so hard on it, and you start to read something, and the way I think it is, my brain goes, oh, I know this. So you're excited about knowing it, and boom, you go and answer the question. You think, great, I got that right. And then, you come to review your quiz or whatever, and actually you don't because you've missed one key word or you've missed just the whole last little bit that makes all the difference in it. It really does. It annoys you, but I think it's, for me at least, it's excitement of thinking I'm knowing the answer. I know this one. So you kind of shoot straight to it. But
Right. Yeah.
a lot of the time you really have to truly fully read. And then what Sherry said earlier on about like checking all three, if you've got the time to check all three answers just to truly make sure you know that like, okay, that's definitely it.
Well, then
Makes you
also
feel
what I've done before, if like let's say you do option A, right? And option A works for you, and then you do option B and it also works for you, and then you go back to option A and you realize you made a mistake in option A, right? So yeah, that can help with that. One other tip that I just remembered, if there's like this one, like a really wordy question, and you're just kind of struggling, like focusing throughout the entire reading of the question, apparently, it helps to read the last part of it first. So like, for example, this one be like, okay, all right, what, and then just go big. Okay, what's the last part? What would be the best choice? And then maybe you read these, and that kind of like puts you in the right mindset to then go back and read the question and say like what you're looking for in the question, right? Like what information,
I would agree with that.
yeah, this might not be the best example, but like usually the last part of it is going to it's going to be the question part. It's going to be like, what they want you to find. So like putting yourself in the mindset of what you need to find and maybe the answer options, and then reading it again can kind of help you find the information when you read it instead of like just a word jumble in your mind.
I think that's really helpful, Nick. I was wondering if you recommend reading the last part first or just reading it through and then start again.
I would, read it through first,
Through.
and then if you feel like you're struggling with it a little bit, then yeah, like just be like, okay, well, what is it looking for? Let's see, maybe that's in the last part, and then what are the answer options, and then kind of get your mind around what it's looking for, and then read it again.
This isn't really helpful, but I just would like to note that I completely notice in myself that I'm not as thorough a reader as I once was. And I think it's because I spend so much time doing fast reading because of the way we communicate now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's probably even more important to try to, I'm with Sam there. I think
I think we skim a lot of information
we
in real
skim a
world. You
lot of
kind of,
information in real world. And so,
and this you need to slow down
Right.
for sure.
for sure, I'm going to try to not have much caffeine and stuff because, yeah.
And that's why I think also I'm probably not the type to take the full 2 hours. It's just not in me to do that. But I will try and slow down after I've answered everything and after I feel comfortable when I'm reviewing those, really just slow down the process at that point and make sure if I need to take 1 hour, 59 minutes and 59 seconds, and so be it. I'd rather do that than
Sam, I say we challenge ourselves to at least take an hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. What was everybody else typically? I know we're all different, and I know Nick said that, but what were people typically? Can they remember how many minutes they had left on their practice ones?
My first test took me like 45. My second test took like an hour and 10. And my third one was like an hour and 35.
All of mine were about an hour to an hour and 15.
Right.
Same.
The one I took the least amount of time on is the one I did the best on.
Huh. Funny how that works. And the one I took the longest on was the one I did the worst on. We don't want to be rushing through anything.
Okay,
I think as well
don't go slow. Don't go slow.
Yeah, I think with those wordy questions, Nick, as well, like I just try to, I know this sounds really basic, but read a sentence, digest it, read another sentence, digest it, and then read another sentence and digest it, as opposed to trying to take all that information and kind of piece it all together. If I'm really struggling with it, which sometimes on those longer ones I do,
Mm-hmm.
I just try and take little snippets.
Yeah.
And go, okay, yes, I understand that bit. Okay, right, what's it saying next? Okay, I understand that now. Because I'll run through questions sometimes and I'll just be like, nah, I've not got that all.
Yeah. And writing it down too, like, okay, what are we given? I remember doing math classes when I was younger, right? And they would be like, write down what you're given. This is all the information we're given. Write it down. And then what do we need to find? And then how do we get from what we were given to what we got to find?
Yeah.
And, once you kind of have all those three things, then you can work it out.
Sure.
I have a question about the IFR course.
Mm-hmm.
So is it in a part-time app or no?
Oh, no, the app is just for private pilot right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you can.
I assume you'll communicate with us as and when you're thinking about doing IFR, VIP. I know you said you're not there yet, but
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely announce it. But yeah, I
do you
gotta
have like a
figure
like
out.
a rough approximate like when you think or is it just
Um
not on your? I'm not gonna hold you to it either.
yeah,
Just
and yeah,
curious.
I don't know. I don't know. I got it because I also there's a lot of people that want us to do the private pilot again too. So
Yeah.
um I'm also thinking about hiring
Hiring a
someone.
teacher.
Yeah, hiring someone to do the lessons and then me doing like the Q&A part. Um so I got a lot to think about, but yeah.
How many people work for you
I have three.
full time?
Two full-time, one part-time.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
Good for you.
thanks. 40% off. Yeah, you saw the Black Friday. Yeah, decided to do that last minute. Um, but yeah, definitely if you guys are thinking about getting the IFR, I would say the VIP, we would do the same thing, right? Where that you would get like refunded your whatever you paid for the IFR if we do the VIP. Same thing as the private pilot, but yeah.
Nick, do you know, and maybe you don't, but like, so it's VFR, it's IFR. You obviously have to get your multi and you have to get your commercial. Like for your multi and your commercial, like what level of ground school is it? Because I think I've heard that the multi and the commercial are the not the easiest, but are not as dense.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think it definitely kind of like private's the most dense, IFR's slightly less, commercial's slightly less.
yeah.
And then multi's definitely the least of all.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, there's still a considerable amount for each, you know?
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Does it
what's the highest
come?
rating you go up to with your courses?
Right now it's IFR. We're working on the commercial one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a
Does it
question.
kind of? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go.
I was wondering about the testing centers, like what, when you go there, what is supplied, what you can bring, what you can't. I know, um, obviously you can bring in the electronic E6B and the paper one, but what other materials can we bring in and that they will provide?
Yeah. So bring in your plotter tool, your E6B, and if you have a magnifying glass, if you want to use a magnifying glass, we found that out that you can bring a magnifying glass.
Yeah,
You can bring a calculator, but um, they should, and I say should, they should be able to supply one. But you could do what I did and just call the testing center and just be like,
yeah, I
hey,
made a note for that.
yeah, and just be like, hey, because I didn't have a basic calculator. I had like a graphing calculator, and you can't bring those in from my days at school. So I was like, I don't even
Yeah,
have so I called them and they were like, oh yeah, we have them. They had like a basket of them that I could use, but they also have like on the computer themselves. I I don't know if that's every single testing center. I believe it would be that on the computer there's a little, but if you want like a physical one, maybe call them, see if they provide those. Um,
yeah.
there was
My
also
only concern,
some other things. Let me just
yeah, Rich.
there was also some other things we found on that list that people had some questions on in the Facebook group. One was the entry holding pattern entry thing tool. I've never seen one of those, but holding pattern entries are for IFR ground school. So you don't have to worry about that. You won't get asked questions about holding pattern entries.
Okay. With the Black Friday thing and what you did with this, I know, I assume this will be a little bit different. I saw that you like refunded the difference when people came in you know, and they already paid for the regular ground school and came into this. So what is there going to be like a price difference there with, because I mean, obviously we haven't seen any of the bundles, the prices or anything like that. Will you have that listed as like what it looks like after you've already taken ground school? Because some of those bundles, I assume, include the ground school price in them. I was wondering kind of what that looks like.
So you talking about for IFR?
Yeah, yeah. If you go into IFR, you're
Yeah, so I mean you already have the private pilot, so you would need to add the IFR. Are you saying like, oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying like, can you like, since you already have private pilot, can you retroactively get the bundle deal and then add the Black Friday deal to that as well? Is that what you're asking?
yeah, I guess so. I'm just kind of wondering how that looks like, and you don't have to get into it much. I can easily just ask the questions as that, you know,
Yeah,
is
so
released and those
just
prices. And
yeah, no worries. So just when we do like a big deal like this, like 40% off or whatever, we are going to combine it with bundle deal for new people, but it's not like retroactive like
Gotcha.
we did for
Okay.
VIP. We're not gonna like refund the difference or whatever like we did for VIP, unfortunately. Yeah.
Right,
I
thank you.
bought, I bought the IFR course like 3 days ago before the Black Friday, but it's okay.
Oh, that's right, you did. If you wanna, I mean, it's not guaranteed because we're doing the first 25 or whatever, but if you wanna get a refund from that and give it a go, trying to get the Black Friday deal, I'll let you do that, Hassan, for sure.
No, no, you good though. You
Are you
helped me
sure?
a lot. Yeah,
All
you
right.
helped me a
All
lot.
right.
So
All right. All right. Well, good luck, everybody. Don't be strangers. Thank you all for your hard work and, kind of being my guinea pigs on this a little bit. Um, what time does your business open? What do you mean?
Well, you're doing the Black Friday. I just was trying to get like my three
Oh,
fellow people.
so yeah, I'm saying, yeah, I've been debating because the last time I did this, like it crashed my website because
I
everybody
bet. I
logged on at the
bet.
same time, which is a cool thing because I was like, oh wow, but I kind of want to avoid that. So I'm
Okay.
kind of being a little bit vague about it.
But that's fine. I
Okay.
don't care. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. But just because you guys are my favorites, I'll tell you, like, I think around 7, 8 a.m. Pacific when I'm
Because
probably
that's
gonna,
like morning. That seems logical. I would have thought it would be that.
yeah.
What's this within regards to? Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Be a when I send out the Black Friday coupon.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I actually saw that time in some of
Sure.
the communication, like
Yeah.
7 or 8 a.m.
We Midwesterners, we're notoriously thrifty. So, it's like our bias.
Yeah.
Thank you all for helping me so much.
I'm just poor, so I need the money.
It was Nick and everybody else too, though. You all helped me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being such a great student, and all you guys, thanks for being a good student, good students, and
Yeah.
I'm proud of you guys.
I appreciate all the help. Good luck, everyone on your test.
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah,
Good
please
luck to you guys too.
let us know how you do in the Facebook group. I'm sure you guys are going to do great, and reach out if you have any questions.
And I'm sorry, one more question. After the second round of tests that we're doing, is everything after that self-study?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
give you even more, like we have even more practice tests that we can give you, but like once you get your endorsement, yeah, it's whatever. And also your flashcards, the flashcards course, you can utilize that as well. But we kind of, like,
At some point.
yeah, once you get the endorsement, that's what we wanted to make sure you got done in terms of test prep. But you can do as much as you want. The more the better, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. Good
All right,
luck.
bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. See
Yep.
you.